Imagine that there was a boy who was always worried about what other people were thinking of him. He would go to school and he'd be constantly thinking, are people looking at me? Are people staring at me? He'd be worried to make a joke because he thinks he might upset people. He'd be worried to put his hand up in class because then people might think that he's trying to be smart. He's just constantly worrying about what other people will think of him. And he's worrying more about what other people will think of him more than he's actually living his life. His main priority is to not upset people, to not get in people's way. And he's not living his life to the fullest because of this. And this boy, this same boy, he has a dream. He has a dream that he wants to live. But he's just worried that people will call him weird if he tries to live this dream. If he tries to become successful and live this dream life, he's worried that people will call him weird for trying to do it. And so he doesn't do it. And then one night, just before he's about to go to bed, he's writing in his journal. And he's writing about this problem he has. He knows in his mind that he cares about what other people think too much. And he knows that it's affecting him. And he really, really wants to follow this dream he has. So eventually, after a bit of writing and a bit of journaling, he decides that he's going to follow his dreams. He decides that he's going to ignore what other people think, and he's just going to follow his dreams. And so the next day, he gets up nice and early, and he starts working on his dream. And then the next day he does the same thing. He gets up early again and starts working. And then the next day, then the next day, then the next day. And soon enough, he's built up this dream, not so that it's fully like his life, but he's got this dream going, this dream of how he could live his life. It's sort of merging in with his actual life. This dream that he wants to live is sort of becoming more real and real as he's putting more work into it. And guess what other people say? Other people don't call him weird for it. Instead, other people, they just wish that they could be like him. They wish that they could be living their dream. They wish that they could not care what other people think of them, because that's the thing. It's not just this boy that cares what everyone else thinks of him. It's everyone that cares what everyone else thinks of them. Everyone is worried about what other people think of them. And that's simply human biology, like human psychology. Naturally, we have to care what other people think of us. We don't want to be the outcast, because imagine when we were cavemen, and we lived in tribes. We wouldn't want to be the weird one, because if we were the weird one, then we might get kicked out of the tribe. And if we get kicked out of the tribe, then we die. And so naturally, we just want to fit in and be normal so that we don't get kicked out of the tribe and so we survive. And if you apply this to the modern day, everyone just wants to be a sheep. No one wants to stand out because they're worried that people will call them weird. But nowadays, we can stand out and we can live our dream lives. And the thing is, being weird and living your dream life is thousands of times better than being normal, because nowadays being normal means vaping, smoking, alcohol, drugs, video games, whatever. Being normal means being a degenerate. Being normal means destroying your life. People would rather destroy their lives than stand out from the crowd. Because this boy that I've just told you about, he's a very, very rare exception. When I told you about him journaling just before he goes to bed and deciding that he wanted to finally follow his dreams, that happens to basically no one. Basically everyone, they'd be thinking, they'd be like, no, I'm just not going to do it. Most people will just stay in normality and destroy their lives. This boy is a very, very rare exception, and almost everyone will just stay in normality and destroy their lives. And that is so, so terrible. So all I'm saying is to just stop caring what people think of you and go and do what you want to do. And obviously, I'm not saying to completely ignore other people's opinions. Getting other people's opinions and getting feedback is so, so important. But don't just constantly be tiptoeing around, hoping not to make anyone notice you. Don't try and be invisible. Just live how you want to live. And don't tiptoe around trying not to get in anyone's way. Because if you keep tiptoeing around trying to not get in anyone's way, then you're going to live your life like that. And that's going to control your life. And you're not going to properly live your life if you always do that. So follow your dreams. Don't really care what other people think of you. And go and live your life.